The fascination with a whole world beneath the surface draws thousands of visitors to Mammoth Cave National Park each year. Known as the longest cave system in the world, people have been touring the cave since the 19th century. For our cover story, we explore the unique underground passages at this popular attraction.
An estimated 500,000 people visit Mammoth Cave National Park in south-central Kentucky each year. The park offers many activities on the surface, such as hiking and camping. But the majority of people go on cave tours offered by the park. For many visitors, going down into a cave is a big adventure.
I think caves for people are kind of the unknown. You know, it's the world underneath your feet that you don't see every day. So going into Mammoth Cave, you experience the darkness, the sounds that are different. You know, you don't have the bright lights and just the experience that you would experience on the surface. So for a lot of people, it's a new environment, it's a mysterious environment, and it kind of gives a little level of adventure, just seeing something that they've never seen before.
The park offers tours for different areas of the cave, and also for various interest and skill levels. Some are more strenuous than others, but there are several tours accessible to most people.
For the really adventurous, we have several crawling tours where you actually crawl on your belly, climb on rocks, squeeze through some very tight places in order to get to the cave.
Mammoth Cave was formed millions of years ago. One of the largest sections of the cave is the Rotunda Room. It is 140 feet underground, and the ceiling is 40 feet tall.
The rock around us is limestone, and it formed in a warm, salty sea millions of years ago. And limestone's easily dissolved by acidic water. Rain comes down and becomes acidic because it picks up carbon dioxide through the air and soil, and it has dissolved out the rock, forming these massive passages called Mammoth Cave.
The earliest humans discovered the cave about 5,000 years ago. It sat empty for a long time, until the early pioneers stepped foot in the cave in about 1790.
Prehistoric Native Americans first stepped foot into Mammoth Cave, and for lighting they used torches made from cane reed that grows along the Green River here. They would dry them out and bundle them up together. And we know this from the artifacts they left behind. So the torch sticks litter the cave, footwear we call moccasins that they made from plant material, gourds that had dried out that they used to carry water or other things into the cave. So they've been dated to be almost 5,000 years ago.
The oldest cave passage we toured is called Gothic Avenue. The formations along the cave wall are black and covered in soot, and that's how the area got its name. A mummy was a big part of what attracted visitors here in the early 1800s.
And it was very appealing in the 1800s because there was a mummy found in a cave near here, a woman that was in a seated position, and there was a little niche in the cave wall where she fit in perfectly. So tours would actually come in to see the mummy of Mammoth Cave.
Around the same time, mining became a major operation in the cave. Sediment from the cave produced saltpeter, which was used to create gunpowder.
By the time the War of 1812 began, the whole nation needed gunpowder to fight the war. So this became a huge manufacturing establishment here, as many as 70 people in the cave at a time, digging in the dirt to get out the nitrates to fight the War of 1812.
Another area of the cave we toured is referred to as the Frozen Niagara. While most of the other cave passages are dry, this is one of the few wet sections due to its location on the side of a hill.
But yet we have a few of these other small areas like the Frozen Niagara where that drippy, I call it the drippy stone, comes in with the stalactites and the stalagmites that kind of give us what people often picture of caves, the pretties that you see coming in. So we've got a little bit of both worlds down in there.
Frozen Niagara is the most famous formation in all of Mammoth Cave. Mammoth Cave is considered the longest cave in the world, and new sections of the cave are still being discovered. Today, the cave is mapped at 412 miles long. In the mid-1800s, there were many new places to see, and cave tours were becoming a popular tourist attraction in the area. The cave owner at that time owned a slave named Stephen Bishop, who was credited with exploring many new areas.
Stephen was the first to discover underground rivers here at Mammoth Cave, and he soon fashioned a boat and crossed the underground river and discovered more cave passages on the other side. The owner of the cave was pretty happy with that because the more caves Stephen discovered, more tours were opened up to those cave passages that Stephen discovered.
Stephen and many others put their names on the ceiling of the cave to leave their mark, and they are still visible today. Due to his extensive knowledge of the cave system, Stephen's owner took him to create a map of the areas that he visited.
He actually took him to Louisville and had Stephen draw out a map of the cave from memory, which is very accurate, about 30 miles of cave passages. And he was allowed to put his name on it and was published. That was pretty amazing for a slave at that time to have anything published.
Mammoth Cave was one of many caves in this area of Kentucky, and tourists coming to see the caves became a big business over the years. During this period, called the Kentucky Cave Wars, the owners of other caves would try to lure visitors away from Mammoth Cave.
They would hire people to dress as policemen and stopping cars on the road and then ask them where they're going. And if they said they're going to Mammoth Cave Estates, they say, oh, you don't want to go there. They're flooded, or they have tuberculosis, or they had a cave in. You come to my cave, and it's much more beautiful. And this was part of what ended up being called the Kentucky Cave Wars.
There was a growing movement to end the cave wars after the highly publicized death of a cave explorer in 1925. It took more than 15 years to acquire nearly 50,000 acres of land, and Mammoth Cave officially became a national park in 1941. Today, hiking is one of the most popular activities in the park. The National Park Service boasts of the variety of activities for visitors in addition to the cave tours.
We have about 85 miles of surface trails. We offer everything from hiking to horseback riding to even mountain biking, which is not often that common within national parks. We also have several miles of river that people can boat through. And so there's a lot of activities people can do on the surface.
A section of the Green River is located in the park. Water from the cave drains into the river, which also provides a number of recreational opportunities like fishing and boating. There are more than 160 species of creatures that live in Mammoth Cave, including these cave crickets that look like spiders. While bats do live in the cave, their population has been significantly reduced by a disease that has recently popped up in the area.
White nose syndrome, the fungus attacks these bats when they're hibernating. It causes them to wake up and they fly around, they're using up their food stores, and they're dying of starvation. And it's decimated about 95% of our tricolored bats, about 90% of our little browns, and about 80% of our big browns.
We're going to go into the first big room. I'm going to welcome you, and at that point, I'm going to invite those of you who would like to have a slower walking pace to come up front.
The Park Service runs a variety of different tours throughout the year, including several lantern tours that begin in the evening. When visitors descend the stairs at the historic entrance, temperatures are noticeably cooler than the outside air. The average temperature in the cave is about 54 degrees.
There's something special about when you go down into the historic entrance and that cold cave air hits you. It's just a really neat feeling. It kind of brings me back with the green and surrounding that big dark hole.
Park officials say there are still new areas of the cave that are being discovered to this day.
We are currently mapped at about 412 miles. Each holiday we have volunteers that come in from the Cave Research Foundation, and they are actively looking for and mapping new miles. We don't have an exact number of how much more is out there. We're still discovering it, so we've got some more miles to add to the old ticker tape as we go on up here.
The fascination with exploring the cave and the sense of adventure bring a steady stream of visitors to Mammoth Cave National Park year after year.
We invite you to view more video journeys by Sentimental Productions. Our programs focus on our heritage in story, scenery, and song. You can stream other videos on the Sentimental Digital Network website at sdnvideo.com. To buy videos on DVD, visit sentimental.cc or call Sentimental Productions at 1-800-762-0338.